As we've all learned, African Americans have had a long and rather complex history in the American motion picture industry. Early depictions of African American men and women were confined to demeaning stereotypes. Real and related children have acted in film since the beginning of cinema in the late 19th century. In the earliest of those days, black children in films are seen being used, abused, and savage, having no value to them at all. Though this may be true, children or adults acting as children didn't truly emerge as stars until the 1920s. Even then, the same stereotypes that applied to adults were applied to children. Known as the first black child film star is Ernest Morrison. He performed under the stage name Sunshine Sammy in many films from 1918 to 1943. This was just one character that stereotypical roles that he and other children played in, when later they became rascals, similar to the earlier times of pickaninnies used to represent black children. The children were seen as dainty, bug-eyed, nappy-handed, and childlike. This is significant because in the past, children were trained to act more adult-like. Black children were oftentimes typecasted in these roles for years, not even having their real names listed in the credits and set names that were derogatory. They continued to struggle. Like the adults in the 1950s, African American children started to see some changes and were able to make it to other less atrocious roles. These films are usually not G-rated and are in a range of genres in which children find themselves placed or exploited by Hollywood, depending on your point of view. Just FYI, the images of the innocent child does not prevail. Family dynamics. Children in this depiction are seen with some sort of family, whether it be in a single or two-parent household. The film shows family values and structures. The depiction shows children as being vulnerable, protective, and part of the larger picture. The children have more grown-up like ways, usually not staying in the child's place and being irresponsible, just to name a few. They take on a role of their own, though usually meant to be secondary. These characters tend to dominate the film with their wittiness, unfiltered, and deep expression of emotions. For example, in Ice Cube's Are We There Yet?, the children are from a single-parent household, and the mom is looking to change that. The children aren't having it and take over with pranks and outright disrespect to keep the relationship between the new man and their mom on the rocks. The plot shows an outright attempt to destroy any chances he has with the mom, and they show no interest in forming a relationship with him. In filmmakers such as Tyler Perry's works, there is a start with little to no family unity and tension between husband and wives, parents, and parents with children. He's very well known for showing the so-called and oftentimes stereotyped African American family and culture. As an example, in Medea's Family Reunion, children, young and old, refuse to follow household rules, disrespect adults, fight with parents or parental figures, show love even when being abandoned, and
from rape to black eyes and bruised ribs, children in black film really have it tough. Sometimes these roles children play are so strong it resonates deeply within our inner conscience we forget that they are actual people and start to associate their roles with their real progressing lives. In addition, there are films in existence that has a strong representation of children being a victim of abuse, and just like in real life, the people who are dishing out the abuse are the ones closest to them. For example, in the film Precious, her mother is a brute savant at verbally degrading her. She is also raped and impregnated by her father, and instead of her mother siding with her, she instead becomes infuriated with her for stealing her man away. These are only a glimpse of what we have already been subjected to in black films regarding children and how they are portrayed, but I think we are starting to understand that although abuse is very real, a depiction of children in a more positive role may be better for our minds, hearts, and children who also see these films.
Courage can be defined as being heroic, which might be the case pertaining to most, black child actors. But the particular type of courage that we're focusing on is presenting strength in the face of pain or grief. Essentially inspiring the audience in a way that's showing a sense of fearlessness. Like speaking on issues such as police brutality, cultural stereotypes, even current political views. These depictions of child actors are very impactful, containing enough substance to spark a flame in the mind of black culture.
Recently, black children have been featured in more inspiring roles in film, not limited to northern stereotypes that we have seen recently, but now rather are being featured in more diverse roles with more diverse storylines. Recent movies that come to mind are Karate Kid featuring Jaden Smith, and other movies that feature black kids in a sci-fi and more adventurous films are like After Earth, shows such as Stranger Things, and the movie Wrinkle in Time have taken black children to a place they have never been before in film. More assorted roles for black children is a trend that we would all like to see flourish even further, because we all know representation matters.